Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Wisdom Addicts podcast, a podcast where we help you travel into a new mindset. And I'm here in El Cuarto Studio with my friend, professional soccer player Brandon Bai. And we have both gone to college. We have excelled as high school athletes. We have, I think, been good sons and good people. And obviously, we've attained our success as athletes. Obviously, you're still an athlete. I'm an active entrepreneur. And we want to talk about today about your identity and how you attach your identity to the things you've done in life. And I think with athletes, a lot of athletes carry their medals with them. They carry all their success. And I think obviously you being in the place you're at, 6 years into your professional career. I just got done a year ago being part of the futsal national team. I think it's a very important topic to talk about, just the legacy and who we are when we take off that uniform. I think a lot of us just think we can go our whole lives just talking about what we did and the goals and the trophies and stuff. But man, how would you say, obviously, seeing how you've grown your brand, how you've collaborated with different brands, how different companies, obviously with Aspidas, you've raised thousands of dollars, you've gotten so much support. What would you say it's for you, like the importance of like just understanding that who you are as a player or whatever you do today is just one thing, but at the end, you as a person is really what determines your legacy.
Exactly. I think it's huge. It's the fact that, soccer does end eventually, as a player. I'm not saying that you can't pivot to being a coach, being a recruiter, or being, somewhere in the front office, or keeping something like Aspiras, alive and well. But yeah, your playing career ends one day. Your playing career ended when you moved to Kalamazoo and you started your college life. And obviously not your playing career because you still play and
Yeah.
Enjoy that.
I love the game.
And then you obviously played for the national team as well, and that's awesome. But your playing career does end one day, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. Was I never wanted to just be an athlete or just be categorized into one thing. You, me, everybody else is so much more than just, their profession or where they grew up or, where they came from. There's so much more than that. And I think knowing that, trying to, diversify, my life, whether it's, picking up different types of books or, listening to different types of podcasts or, surrounding yourself with different types of people. I think it's always a big thing is just to try to experience the world in different places and understand that, at the end of the day, soccer does end, but where can I go from there? And it's never ending and starting. It's always pivoting to something else. And that's, what I love about Aspiras is, we started with something so simple as soccer, and not simple, but, something so basic as getting, soccer equipment, but, pivoting to the educational side, pivoting to more of the mental side, that you can talk about as well. I think, just moving your life in whatever way, but never stopping and starting. I think it's always it's fluid,
How would you say you like, you've played against the big boys, Zlatans, Rooney's, Chicharritos. When you see them, how have you feel influenced to know that your brand is not just what you do on the field, but outside of it? I heard my favorite player was Iker Casillas, the Real Madrid goalie, and there was one time he was like not doing really well, and he said in the press, he said, I don't want to be remembered as a good goalie, but as a good person. And for me, that was really impacting, just because whenever I started Aspiras and started like showing people what I wanted to do, that's when I really understood that people remembered me for the person I was. On the field, off the field, with my teammates, with the people I played against. There were people I played against my whole life, and whenever I saw that, hey, look, I want to help. You want to be part of it? And they were like, yeah. So it's just like, understanding that what you can do as a player is this much, very little, but what you can do as a person and a person with a mission, I think it's just limitless. So for you, how has it been like, just being around the guys we play FIFA with?
Yeah, it's crazy. But I think, something just clicked in my head when you said something, being around players like that. I think about the time that I spent with players in my locker room, you know, and I think, and then I think about what were they to me? They were role models. And I think everybody has, and I'll throw back to you as well. But everybody has role models in their life, and people they can look up to and understand, oh, you know, this guy's played in the league for 8 years and this is how he carries himself in the locker room. But this is also how he carries himself outside the locker room, you know, trying to integrate with the younger players, trying to, you know, do things outside of just soccer, whether it's giving back in the community or, you know, doing different, you know, community involvement things, be involved with the church or, you know, youth teams, stuff like that. I think, you know, those role models showed me the way to, you know, have a longer career in the soccer world, but also having, you know, an ability to shift and to pivot once the soccer is done. Massive to me is role models. And I think that's a big thing that, you know, I always looked at, it never really clicked until you just said something. But yeah, what would you say? Who's your, you know, role models growing up, you know, soccer wise, but also in the community?
Obviously my parents.
Yeah.
That's, you know, number one.
Mine too, if they're listening.
So yeah, hopefully they are. Obviously my parents, just because my parents got up to work every day and they didn't really tell me much. They just showed me by who they were, what I could project as a human being. Obviously, you know, ethic, values, morals, but I would say soccer wise, it was just, I played at a really young age. When I was 14, I was already playing with like the first team of my club. So when I was 14, 15, I was hanging out with 30, 32, 35-year-olds. And there were always some that they weren't really the best players, but they were great leaders. They were role models. They usually had other things outside of the game that really made me connect with them. Because as a young player, you're looking to connect. You're looking to, you know, not just be the ball boy, just, you know, be there. But it was always like those players that maybe weren't the best, but they were just so kind. And they were like, they would take the time to like talk to me. How are you? How can I help you? And obviously coaches, you know, my coach, Escola Bauer, Jorge Allen, Jorge Bauer, Oscar, Jonathan from La Meca, like just players that at specific moments in my life, because I wasn't always a good athlete, like a good player. Like we all sucked at one time.
Absolutely.
But from like whenever I started playing to like 13, 14, and I was like, okay, I'm good. Like those years were key. And I had a lot of coaches that just showed me the way through their actions and like through patience. And I think that's really what has helped or motivated me to know that, yeah, you can be a good athlete. Like, for example, when I was part of the national team and we traveled and we, you know, like whenever we were done with the games, hundreds of messages and group chats, everyone watching me, people I hadn't talked to years, but just the fact that I had learned to not identify myself as a soccer player, but as the person that does way more things outside. It's just like the compound effect of the parents, the players, and just the coaches that became role models, you know. And you have to get to this point in your life to really understand it, because when you're only a player, you think, oh, I want to win, oh, I want to get the rewards, oh, I want to, you know, get the Instagram verified, which I know I'll get someday, but you know, it's very easy to get your mind full of the non-essentials or the things that are not really important.
Yeah, and in growing that legacy is understanding that, you know, soccer or, you know, sports, you know, does end one day, and not necessarily ends, but you know, you have to have more than just, you know, sports in your life. You have to have, you know, your family behind you. You have to have, you know, other interests, stuff like that. But always very important, and you know, you want to stay in the sports as long as possible, and you want to live that, you know, that life. But at the end of the day, you know, you have to have more than just that.
Yeah, man. For me, when I got to college and my dream of playing soccer, I couldn't fulfill it. They were the best times of my life, just because I got to, as I told your dad yesterday, I got to study abroad twice. You know, I got to really take myself out of that bubble, which before I was like, oh my God, I didn't make it. My whole life is going down the drain. But when I saw myself outside of that bubble of having the gloves on, being the athlete, carrying all the medals, that's when I really understood who I became, or who I wanted to become as a person. And I think that's really when you attach what you want your legacy to be, because it just forces you to whoever you talk to, whoever you interact with, you just be a good person. Yeah. And thing we always say, like your network is your net worth. And I think the main reason we've been able to help so much was because we've been able to work with people that want to help us. Exactly. Because a lot of people give us the merit, but I just say, like, I'm just in the middle, you know, and by nurturing good relationships, by being a good person, I think that's how you can help forward. So, like, your legacy is directly attached to how you help people and how they help you. Because if, you know, we all know athletes and people in business that whenever they're up top, they don't care about whoever's below. But when they're below, they need the people up there. So you never know if you're going to be up or down. You know, things happen in life, but just knowing that if you're a good person, people are going to help you. Exactly. And then you'll be able to receive whatever, you know, the people that need to be helped need, which in our case, it was filling up boxes with gear, you know, with just hope. Yeah. And I think that's directly just attached to who you are as a person.
Yeah. And being kind to everyone. I think that was, you know, something my parents instilled in me was, you know, always help and always, you know, lend a helping hand and being kind to people, because you never know what position they're going to be in later in life. You know, that guy that you weren't, you know, exactly best friends with in high school that, you know, maybe you could have been a little nicer to, he might be your boss one day. He might be someone very important that you need a favor from. You know, being kind always is always the good thing, but, you know, enjoying that and trying to give back as much as possible now. You know, who knows when those relationships will flip and you need a favor or you need something, you know, it's always, it always comes full circle.
Yeah. And what I've learned through the work that we do is there's nothing more just more, I don't know, just better. There's nothing just more fulfilling than helping someone that, you know, can't help you back.
Right.
Because usually we post something on Instagram and we're sitting there waiting for the likes. You know, we're just like waiting. We're like, oh my God, 320, 10. And like we define how good the picture is or the whatever we posted based on outside acceptance. But I think when you understand that however the world reacts to what you do doesn't really matter. It just matters why you did it. And like if you helped without expecting nothing in return. And, you know, when we go to these places and we see these kids that they can't pay us back, but we don't do that. That's not why we do it. We do it because we know that, and this is what I told Kiko today. I was like, you're a role model. He's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, because I help you. Brandon helps you, but tomorrow you're going to be helping these kids. And I just think it's just like that, how they say that circle of life.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, I want to ask you, what would you just recommend to young athletes that are pursuing the college route, pursuing maybe the pro route, just pursuing things in their lane of an athlete? What would you like generally recommend to them as they're pursuing that path, knowing that they're one injury away, they're always in the brink of just not making it?
Yeah. Honestly, and we can end it with this, is very simple. Honestly, is just to get a little better every day, trying to just increase 1%, whether it's, you know, working on a fine skill or, you know, reading or, you know, working on your guitar skills or whatever it is in life, just getting a little better every day and trying to set small attainable goals that, you know, you can look at it in a year and say, okay, you know, I set all these small goals, but they reached something and they got something. So, you know, setting small goals and checking them off as you go. And okay, maybe I didn't get to that goal today. Maybe, you know, my left foot was weak, or, you know, maybe I missed some passes, or maybe, you know, things that are small that you can say, okay, you know, I did well today, check, or, you know, circle that. I need to do better tomorrow. Setting small goals and trying to, you know, just get a little better every day.
Yeah. For me, I would generally recommend to just never stop working on your leadership skills. Like, don't do it just to have the captain's armband, but there's always someone in your team. There's always someone that you can be of help to. And like, for me, a lot of the friends I have today, we played in the same team or against each other, but just 10, 20, 15 years later that we're still close. It's just like, I know I was of help to that person in a specific moment of my life, but a lot of times we only think of winning. We only think of, I want to get this. I want to go to college. I want to become a pro, but we forget of the impact we have on other people. And I think that as an athlete, if you do that on the field, you're eventually going to do it outside and, in school and with your friends and with your parents. So I think that's, to end it up, I think that's what I would generally say, just leadership, because as athletes, we have a platform that not many people do. So when we're there, we have to make sure we use it for good. And I'm sure you've seen it, obviously you've done it like with the work we do. So I just think you don't have to wait to become a pro player or win the World Cup. Wherever you are, whatever league you play, just know that you're in that position of leadership and influence.
Cool. Beautiful.